pretty adamant that I bring this up in most podcasts. I want to know where your stance is with detachment from coffee and how farmers are treated overseas, and how do you feel about
Mhm.
trying to buy coffee the more ethical way and actually knowing where it's coming from?
Yeah, yeah, that detachment from coffee. I think it's important. I think America is detached from the rest of the world in a lot of ways sometimes. We don't
Right,
mean to be, but it's just our culture, a lot of that stuff. But I don't see that as an excuse. And when you start to learn about coffee, I'm like, oh, dang. I don't, I felt bad at first, obviously. I felt
right,
guilty at
right.
first.
Yeah,
But I don't think that's healthy. And the more I began to ponder this and meditate on it and learn about coffee and understand the work that I put into coffee and the content that I make and the contribution that I make or the value that I try to bring every time I deal with specialty coffee or coffee in general, even if it's not specialty coffee, it's like somebody picked that, somebody worked to get that for you. Um, I just try to be grateful and I've worked through my feeling of guilt and I let that go. I don't feel guilty about it. I just
right,
appreciate them. I know where it's coming from. I
for
appreciate it.
sure.
And personally that's what I do when I drink a cup of coffee. Sometimes I'll have a really like emotional, powerful moment by myself and I'm like I surprise myself and I'm like, "Oh, good job for even thinking of them."
Right,
And
right,
you at the same time, like, you I know like, I'll be talking to myself, I'm like, "You're a, very sort of self-centered person, or I know you can be, so bravo for thinking of somebody else." And I try to bring that into my daily practice because I have coffee every day. And, yeah, so personally, I know where it's coming from. I don't judge anybody who doesn't know. I love to educate people on coffee, especially like a family member. If it goes over their head, I don't try to force it.
right,
It's not a religion.
for sure.
I know coffee can be, and maybe it's
Oh
mine
yeah, oh
some
yeah.
weird way, right? But I don't need to force it on everybody else. Like if you want to learn about coffee, like I'm so happy. Like my aunt buys my decaf every so often, and I'm like, she could get any decaf, dude.
Right, yeah,
Any decaf, like, really, does she really care how awesome this Colombian sugarcane decaf is? Probably
right.
not. But she's supporting me. That's so cool. And maybe it is better. She tells me it's better. I'm like, really? Is it better? I don't really, honestly. That's my imposter syndrome. But like, I don't force that on other people. I just try to talk about it whenever I make content. Hopefully, like my friends and family, because most of them just don't know about coffee. That's cool. They maybe hopefully learn through that and they can absorb that message passively and they could see my passion for it. And because I'm the bridge to that information,
Right,
they can just cross it whenever they like. The bridge is open, but you don't need to be forced onto the bridge.
for sure,
So,
got you, and, you're right, that's out there,
yeah,
a lot of people try to force, coffee on people like it is some sort of, cult almost, a little
yeah,
bit.
we do that. We
Yeah,
do that with
it's
things.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad though, but if they're wanting to know, we will tell them.
I think it's fine if it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
your internal driver, and that's what drives me. It's like, why are we having this conversation about coffee? Because we both
right,
really care about it. We're passionate about it. But yeah, I don't expect somebody like my parents is like they're like, oh, okay, whatever. Creamer.
right, gotcha,
So like you like what you like and that's fine. And if you want to learn about it, it's there for you. When you're ready to learn, it's there for you. Oh man, you're gonna have a ball learning about all the things. But yeah, I definitely don't force it. And I'm always aware. I'm always so aware. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this one, especially when you're doing a lot of like coffee work. You're
right,
putting working hours behind the
mhm,
roaster and behind the cupping table, and you're analyzing things and you're thinking about the origin. You're thinking about where you got it. Like I always source from Hasea because I just trust Jared to do that work for me.
right,
So he's the bridge to that. The fact that it's being ethically sourced, that they're being paid a fair wage, that I'm getting more along the lines of being a first pick, getting the first pick of the crop, things like that I didn't even know about. And he talks to me like a real human, and we have real conversations about coffee. And I'm like, okay, now I feel like I've fulfilled the best that I can do in my own little world here, and bring value on all sides as best as I can, right?
Right.
I'm not going to check all the boxes. I'm just not. But the best that I can do.
Right.
And then give it back in a way where I make content about it and I talk about it. Whenever I get a new green in, we talk about that stuff. So yeah, that's my opinion on
Yeah,
it.